Jagada bhavan ajono sanjajna ityanuyugam nijadharma guptye nana tanur gagana vad vidadhaj jahasi koveda bomna urugaya vibhutimayam. Translation. Indeed, so the speaker here is Vasudev, Krishna's father. Indeed, while still in the maternity room, you told us that you, the unborn Lord, had already been born several times as our son in previous ages. After manifesting each of these transcendental bodies, you protect your own principles of religion. You then made them unmanifested, thus appearing and disappearing like a cloud. O supremely glorified, all-pervading Lord, who can understand the mystic, deluding potency of your opulent expansions? Purport. Lord Krishna was first born to Vasudeva and Devaki in their previous lives as Sutapa and Prishni. Later, they again became his parents as Kashyapa and Aditi. This then was the third time he appeared as their son. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shivashakam Vitamscha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavari Pastachanesha Tarine Mancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So before I continue, in my last class at the very end, I was told that I was still sharing my screen. So am I still sharing my screen now? Yes.
Looks like you are.
Okay, so how do I turn that off? How do I unshare?
Maybe try clicking stop share, stop screen share.
Yeah, that would be nice if there was such a command.
Hmm.
Yeah, okay, I don't know how to do that.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I think I stopped your screen share for you.
I beg your pardon?
I think I took the screen share down from
Yeah,
the
it's off.
It's off. Okay,
Hare
thank you.
Krishna.
Thank you very much. I guess I should have researched in my own time, but
You don't have to. When Jeffrey Eckler is co-hosting, you can
Uh-huh.
relax and dive into Srimad Bhagavatam.
Sri Prahlad Prabhu, we look to you for other wisdom.
Okay.
Hare Bol.
Thank you. So there is a reference here to Krishna's Vasudeva speaking to Krishna, and he's heard the sages glorify Krishna as the Supreme Lord. He has this great, there are these mixed feelings within him. Right now, he's appreciating that, wow, my son is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are times in the Bhagavatam, this happens in different occasions, where Vasudeva becomes acutely aware of the divinity of his son. This is one of them. Sometimes it inhibits, when it happens to Vasudeva and Devaki, it inhibits their feeling of parental love. When this happens to Yasoda seen Krishna's universal form in his mouth, momentarily she says, she becomes confused. She says, who is this? Like, what is this that I'm seeing here? Who is this that is my son? And then immediately, after a moment, she holds him close, and her maternal affection overrides any sense of his majesty. That's the nature of the residents of Vrindavan. Even when they see manifestations of his divinity, their love for him as their son, as their friend, as their lover, overrides any sense of awe and reverence. In Dwarka, it's different. They have a deeper sense of his greatness, his majesty as a prince, as a king, but then his divinity as well. And when that happens, as in the case with Arjuna, it overrides that sense of friendship. When Arjuna saw the Virat Rupa, he apologized to Krishna for treating him as a friend. So that happens with Vasudeva and Devaki as well. They start having doubts about, is he really our son? Can we think of him as our son when he's God? So Vasudeva has been offering prayers to Krishna. You'll see how Krishna deflects, but that's in coming verses. Krishna acknowledges his words, his prayers, but he deflects as well, reinterprets Vasudeva's words. But let's explore these three appearances. How did it come about that Vasudeva and Devaki became the parents of Krishna? And how is it that this is happening on repeat? The purport says 3 occasions. So this is actually explained. So the 3 appearances are Prishnigarbha, Krishna's appearance as Prishnigarbha, as the son of Sutapa and Prishni. The second is Krishna's appearance as Vamana, as the son of Kashyapa and Aditi. And then the third is Krishna, as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki. So Krishna actually explained in the maternity room, there's a reference here in this verse, as you told us in the maternity room. So in the maternity room, Krishna explained to Vasudeva and Devaki how he became their son to begin with. And also references Vamana, but just in one verse, but in several verses he describes his appearance as the son of Sutapa and Prishni. He says, so this is explained in verses 10, 3, 32 to 42. So Canto 10, Chapter 3, when Krishna's just appearing in the maternity room, and the verses 32 to 42, he explains details of these early appearances. And he's appeared to them initially with 4 arms. So baby's born, and he's standing before them with 4 arms, carrying a club and a disc and a conch and a lotus, and he's bedecked with a crown and other ornament, like all the paraphernalia of Vishnu. Kastuba gem, Srivatsa, Vajayanti, garland, and so on. And he tells them, I'm appearing to you like this, so you know that I kept my promise. I'm appearing to you as Vishnu, not as a baby, but as 4-armed Vishnu, so you know it's me who have appeared to fulfill your request and to demonstrate that I'm keeping my word to you. And then he tells them about their previous births. He says, in the reign of Swambhuva Manu, so that's the first Manu, we are currently in the 7th Manu. In the reign of the first Manu, you were known as Sutapa and Prishni. And both of you were ordered by Brahma to generate progeny. So the reign of Swambhuva Manu he's the first Manu, and he's a direct son. He appears from Brahma himself. Brahma initially has some sages who are his sons, Marichi and Atri and others, and he tells them to beget progeny. They're not very successful. Narada and the four Kumars, that they don't generate any progeny. And then he, from his own body, a male and a female manifest, and they're Kshatriyas. The male is Manu, and the female is Satarupa. So that first Manu is Swayambhuva Manu. And this is all the time, at the time when Brahma is engaged in his secondary creation, and he's telling all of his children, you need to help me beget more progeny. So Sutapa and Prishni, they receive this instruction from Brahma, help me beget progeny. These sages, they're not so much inclined to have kids. Like, they're very, very elevated personalities. And some of them are more successful than others, but they go about it in a very religious way. So Sutapa and Prishni, they performed austerities for 12,000 years. It's like, if we're going to have kids, let these children be highly qualified. And so for 12,000 years, they perform very, very intense austerity. They endure. Krishna tells them, you endured the rain and the wind and the strong sun, the scorching heat, severe cold. You suffered all kinds of inconvenience of the different seasons. You practiced pranayama, controlling the breath within your body through yoga. You ate only air and dry leaves fallen from the trees. You cleansed your mind of all contaminations. In this way, you worshiped me with peaceful minds. Thus you spent 12,000, not human years, celestial years, performing this tapasya in consciousness of me. And you constantly contemplated me within the core of your hearts with great faith and devotion, and I was very pleased with you. And because I'm the best of bestowers of benedictions, I appeared in this same form and asked you to take from me any benediction you desired. And so Krishna told them, as husband and wife, you didn't have children. Brahma had ordered you to have children. And so you asked, please, Krishna, Mahavishnu appearing before us, may you appear as our son. And so Krishna agreed. He said, I gave you that benediction that I would appear as your son. And initially I appeared as Prishni Garba. So Prishni is the mother, Sutapa, father, Prishni, mother, and Prishni Garba is the name he assumes. Garba means womb. So the Lord who appeared from the womb of Prishni. This is one translation for the name Prishni Garba. Mahabharata gives another. In the Mahabharata, you get the Vishnu Sahasranam. And with the Vishnu Sahasranam, you also get explanations of names. And so the Mahabharata mentions the name Prishni as a name for Krishna, which means that he is the womb that holds auspicious things like grains and milk and nectar, amrita. He is the repository of these auspicious things. Therefore, he's called Prishni Garba. We are told by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur that this Prishni Garba is also the Treta Yuga avatar. So Treta Yuga comes much. Treta Yuga is, Treta Yuga repeats. And so the Lord who's worshipped in Treta Yuga, His names include Yagya and Prishnigarma. This is mentioned by the Navayogendra Karbhajana Muni in the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur specifically cites that. So in the 11th canto, King Nimi, he asks of the different questions, 9 questions from the 9 kings of yoga, the 9 yogendras. And one of his questions is, please tell me what colors and forms the Supreme Lord appears in each of the different ages, with what names and what types of regular principles the Lord is worshipped during those ages by human society. And so Karbhajana explains the different avatars for Satya, Treta, Dvapara, and Kali Yugas. For Treta Yuga, he says, in the Treta Yuga, the Lord appears in a red complexion. He has 4 arms, golden hair. He wears a triple belt representing initiation into each of the 3 Vedas, embodying the knowledge of worship by sacrificial performance, which are contained in the Rig, Sama, Yajur Vedas. And his symbols are, it's interesting, his symbols are the ladle, spoon, and other implements for sacrifice. So Shruka and Shruva, these are specific items of sacrificial worship. And so, whereas Vishnu is depicted carrying the club and the conch and the disc, Prishnigarma or Yagya or the Treta Yuga avatar, he carries these Shruka and Shruva and other implements for Vedic sacrifice. Karbhajana says in Treta Yuga, people are fixed in religiosity. They're interested in the absolute truth, and they worship Hari, who contains within himself all the demigods, through ritual sacrifice as taught in the 3 Vedas, and he's glorified by the names Vishnu Yagya, Sarvadeva, Urukrama, Jayanta, Urugaya, and Prishnigarma. So Prishnigarma, the son of Sutapa and Prishni, glorified both as having appeared from Prishni's womb, but also as the garba, the womb that holds these auspicious items, grains and amrita and milk, ghee, that are used in sacrifice. Hence, he's also the Treta Yuga avatar, the incarnation of the Lord, who was glorified and worshipped in Treta Yuga, when yajnik sacrifice is the main mode of worship. As just something that we like to glorify as followers of Sri Chaitanya. Karbhajana also says, predicts the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The very famous verse, he says, in Kali Yuga, people are short-lived and they are quarrelsome, but they have the opportunity to gain all perfection by chanting by Sankirtan. And the very famous verse, Krishna Varnam, Tvasha Krishnam, Sango Pangascha Parshanam, Yagnai Sankirtana Prayar, Yajantihi Subeda Saha. In Kali Yuga, intelligent people perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the names of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. So the same personality, Karbhajana, who tells us something about the characteristics of Prishnigarma, also describes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as well. The second appearance to these parents, to the second birth, Krishna's second birth as the sons of these parents, is as Vamana, the son of Kashyapa and Aditi. So Aditi is one of Kashyapa's wives. His other very famous wife is Diti. Diti is they're both very famous mothers Diti is the mother of the demons. So two of her most famous sons are the Golden Brothers, Golden Eye and Golden Bed. Golden Eye Hiranyaksha. He's not just a James Bond villain. He's a Bhagavatam villain. Golden Eye Hiranyaksha. Hiranyaksha literally means Golden Eye. And then his brother Hiranyakashipu, literally golden soft bed. So yeah, these are famous sons of Diti. Of course, their grandson, her grandson is Prahlad. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Prahladas chami daityanam. Of the descendants of Diti, I am Prahlad, the best of them, Prahlad. Her co-wife is Aditi. Aditi is the mother of the demigods. And so the 8th canto describes the appearance of Vamanadev in her womb. After Bali Maharaj, so a further descendant of Diti, grandson of Prahlad Maharaj, he became very powerful. King of the demons, became very powerful by the blessings of Shukra Acharya, the blessings of his guru, and he colonized the universe. He took the throne of Indra. He moved the demigods out of their posts and appointed his own people there. So demons are now controlling the universe. The demigods went into hiding. And Diti feels much pain in her heart. Her sons, they've lost their homes. They've been made homeless. They've lost their jobs. They've lost their positions, their prestige. They've lost their service. Any of these losses can be very troubling to us and to a mom. Kashyapa, he's in meditation, so he's not really aware of what's going on. But one day he comes out of meditation and he enters the ashram and he sees his wife Aditi very, very distressed. And so he asks her, what is the matter? What is her concern? And she says that she's lamenting for her sons that have been made homeless, jobless, homeless, unemployed, lost their services. And so he tells her, you be detached. This is the nature of the material world. We gain, we lose these things. It's the way of attachment and detachment. Because of attachment, we feel lamentation and sadness. But she wasn't very happy with his preaching. And so he said to her, okay, let's do this then. You can appeal to Krishna to help you. So his first instruction is be detached. When she's not accepting that, it's not satisfying her heart, he has another option for her. That's nice. He meets her where she is. He says you should please Krishna and then ask him to fulfill your desires. So he teaches her a vrata called payovrata, a process of worship where over 12 days in the month of Falgun, I think it's during from the dark moon going to, as it's going towards the full moon. Payo means milk. Payovrata, drink only milk. So you offer milk and that's all you subsist on. But not only, you take a sacred bath, you worship Vishnu, you offer different items of that are pleasing to Vishnu, and then you give charity, you feed devotees, you feed brahmanas. And so she performed that vrata with great determination, and Vishnu appeared to her and asked her what she wanted. And she explained her situation, or the situation of her sons, and she asked that he would come as her son and help her and help her brothers. And so he did. So this is the second appearance. He appears as Vamana. One of Vamana Dev's names is Upendra or Upa Indra. Little Indra. He's Indra's little brother. The demigods headed by Indra lost their throne, lost their position, and now he appears as little Indra, little Indra's little brother. He's little. He's a dwarf, in fact. He's very cute. When he makes his appearance, he received gifts. Mother Earth gave him a deer skin. And he appears as a Brahmana. The moon gives him a danda because the moon presides over forests, so a brahmachari danda. His mother, Aditi, gives him a kopin. Brahma gives him a water pot. The seven sages give him kusha grass. Mother Saraswati gives him a strand of beads. Kuvera gives him a pot for begging alms. Kuvera is the treasurer of the demigods, so he's concerned about wealth. So he gives him a pot that he can beg and receive some subsistence, some food. And Mother Bhagavati, the wife of Indra, gave him his first alms. So the brahmachari, when they beg, they say, Bhavati Bhiksham Dehi, Mother, give me food. And so Lord Shiva's wife, Universal Mother, she's the original Bhagavati. And so Vamana takes his first alms from her, goes to the sacrifice of Bali, and cheats Bali to win back the kingdom for his little brother Indra, who he reinstates on his throne, and he stays. He resides with he stays with Bali Maharaj as his doorkeeper, as a way of making up with Bali after having taken his throne. He was the ruler of the entire universe, and then Vamana sends him to rule the subterranean heavenly realms, but he stays with him there as well. So that's the second appearance as the son of Kashyapa and Aditi. And then the third, we know, as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki as Krishna. And so we're all very familiar with that pastime. I will conclude, because we're at time, with some of Kunti Devi's prayers in the first canto of the Bhagavatam, chapter 8, verses 32 to 36. She describes Krishna's appearance, and she offers different reasons for Krishna's appearance. She says in verse 32, some say the unborn is born for the glorification of pious kings. Others say he's born to please King Yadu. So Krishna appears in the Yadu dynasty. He's a Yadava, one of your dearest devotees. You appear in his family as sandalwood appears in the Malaya hills. Verse 33, she says, others say that since Vasudeva and Devaki prayed for you, you have taken your birth as their son. Undoubtedly, you were unborn, yet you take your birth for their welfare and to kill those who are envious of the demigods. And that's what happens with Kashyapa and Aditi, but also with Vasudeva and Devaki. Verse 34, others say that the world, being overburdened like a boat at sea, is much aggrieved, and that Brahma, who is your son, prayed to you, and so you have appeared to diminish the trouble. We have that in the first chapter of the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. Mother Earth approaching Brahma with tears in her eyes. She says the world is being overrun by demoniac forces. Brahma says, let's go and speak to Vishnu. And Vishnu tells Brahma, I will soon appear on earth. I will deal with these demons who are invading the earth. Kunti gives another explanation for Krishna's appearance. So Yadu is one explanation, Vasudeva and Devaki or Sutapa Prishni another. The earth and Brahma is another explanation for Krishna's appearance. 35 is very wonderful. And yet others say you appeared to rejuvenate devotional service of hearing, remembering, and worshipping. And so in order for the conditioned souls suffering from material pangs to take advantage of hearing, chanting, and remembering, and thus be liberated from the material conditioning. And so Kunti concludes, O Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant, and repeat your transcendental activities or take pleasure in others doing so, certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. So the final conclusion, Krishna is appearing for us. Krishna is appearing for you. Krishna is appearing for me, so that we can hear these stories, so that we can discuss these stories, so that we can meditate on these names and these pastimes. And in doing so, our consciousness is purified. In doing so, we develop a relationship with Krishna. In doing so, our affection and love for Krishna is awakened and nourished and cultivated. In doing so, in awakening love, then we are awarded prema, pure love, and we are given entry into those pastimes ourselves. So there we conclude. Any comments?
Thank you, Sri Prahlad Prabhu. I see Henry Prabhu is taking notes. Krishna has appeared for me. Krishna has appeared for me. Yes, great. Krishna is my friend. Is that the note, Henry Prabhu? Great, great. That's my note too. Thank you, Sri Prahlad Prabhu. Wonderful class. Very uplifting. Who'd like to speak? How about Maya Devi? Please, would you like to speak? Would you like to share a reflection? Maybe something that stuck out to you in
Hare
class?
Krishna, hi. Please forgive me for being late and not there in person, but I'm grateful. Sri Prahlad for your association today and last night also at Tuesday Night Kirtan. For those of you that missed it, it was so sweet. But you mentioned briefly, Prabhu, that speaking on the birth of Lord Chaitanya, and I heard recently that there are other incarnations in Mahaprabhu that come in different yugas. Forgive me, I'm not entirely remembering, but that they have different complexions, but that it's only our Mahaprabhu that gives Krishna prema. And I was really curious about this concept, and I was wondering if you could maybe expand or explain that, because I don't really know, and I don't know where to look to learn more about that.
Yeah, so you can look in the commentary to that verse, Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishna Sangopangascha Parshadam. There in the commentaries, it's explained that in every Kali Yuga, there is a Yuga avatar who comes and gives the congregational chanting of the holy name as the Yuga Dharma. His name is Krishna. So a Yuga avatar named Krishna appears in every Kali Yuga and gives the process of Sankirtan, Nam Sankirtan, as the way for people in Kali Yuga to achieve love of Godhead. Once in a day of Brahma, that Kali Yuga avatara is Krishna Chaitanya, who is golden in complexion. And he is the combined incarnation of Radha and Krishna, and he awards the highest prema. So so that's the special Kali Yuga avatara. The most recent Kali Yuga avatara, Krishna Chaitanya, who is combined Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna, Nahi Anya. Very special and rare incarnation. And He's giving not just devotion to God, but or to Vishnu or the Supreme Lord, but he's giving Vraja Bhakti. He's giving entrance into Sri Vrindavan Dham. So that's a very rare gift. Thank you for your question.
Thank you. Krishna Kumari is asking, why isn't Prishni Garba not one of the dasa avatars? Did he not come to save the world, just to satisfy the prayers of Prishni and Sutapa, to have Vishnu as a son, but not to save the world?
Yeah, so thank you for this question, Krishna Kumari. The Bhagavatam by Rupa Goswami's count references 41 incarnations. In the frequent lists, I think somebody, who was that? Yeah, Krishna Kumari. Okay, so you have listed some of it. Okay, the dasa avatar. So the Bhagavatam frequently, like in different places, in the first canto, second canto, in the prayers of Akrura, in the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj, in the prayers of the personified Vedas, one of the parts of those prayers is to say, you very frequently come to save the world. You come to protect your devotees, to destroy kings. And they give different lists. Often, I think in the first and second cantos, it's about 28 incarnations that they list. The list of 10 is a very popular list. I don't know where that tradition comes from to say 10. Jayadev Goswami, in his song Dasa Avatara Stotram, he lists 10 incarnations. And he was a very influential poet. His Gita Govinda is very beloved. So he selected 10 very colorful.
That's where we get Nisringa prayers from?
Yeah, we get that one verse, Tavakara Kama Lavare Inakam. Yeah, so that's from the Dasavatara Stotram. The first Namaste Narasimhaya, that's from a different place. Prabhupada brought them together and gave them to us. And that's why they have different melodies as well when we sing them. So yeah, otherwise the Bhagavatam says, Indrari Vyakalam Lokam Vridayanti Yuge Yuge. The first part of that verse, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. He says that these incarnations and Echekam Sakala Pumsa, yeah, they are innumerable like the waves in the sea. Krishna's incarnations and partial incarnations are innumerable like the waves in the sea. So there are many, many incarnations. Bhagavatam is describing the most prominent in lots of detail. So Narasimhadev, he gets a whole canto, the background, the foreground to his appearance. Others get some chapters in the Bhagavatam, Ram and Vamanadev. And then, of course, Krishna's appearance is given the most time with a complete canto, and not only just a complete canto, but the 10th canto is pretty much the same size as the rest of the 12 cantos together. So yeah, that point, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, among all of these incarnations, Krishna is the supreme. He's the source of all of them, is the main point of the Bhagavatam for us to understand. Thank you, Krishna Kumari.
I hope you can answer Chris's question.
So Chris says, in the present days, what is the incarnation of Krishna, and how does this incarnation protect his own principles of religion? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the incarnation for Kali Yuga. And so what did he teach? He taught us to take shelter of the holy name. That remains. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance 500 years ago, and then he remains for 50 years. So 12, 40, yeah, 4 groups of 12, 48 years he remains. But what he taught us is that we can take shelter of Krishna in the form of his holy name. So Kali, Kala, Nama Rupa, Krishna, Avatara. In the age of Kali, the Nama Rupa, the form of the name, is Krishna's avatar, accessible and available to us at all times. Let me say this. The Bhagavatam also answers your question. When, I think it's the third or fourth chapter, the third chapter. Which chapter is not one of the earliest chapters of the first canto of the Bhagavatam? The sages of Naimisharanya ask, now that Krishna has left to his own abode, how can people be benefited? How can people be delivered? And Sutta Goswami responds, Krishna Svadharma Pagate Janadi Bis. He says, in this dark age of Kali, people can get light from the sun, that is the Srimad Bhagavatam, which has arisen just after the departure of Krishna to his own abode. So discussing the Bhagavatam appears at the beginning of Kali Yuga for our benefit. The sages of Naimisharanya are there performing 1,000-year yajna with that concern for the benefit of the people of Kali Yuga. How will they be delivered? They ask the question of Sutta, and he answers that people in Kali will be delivered by hearing, discussing, glorifying Krishna through the Srimad Bhagavatam. And then what the Bhagavatam is teaching us also is Sankirtan, that in Kali Yuga, the process is to engage in Sankirtan. Bhagavatam is Sankirtan, so that's something to also understand. Sukadev Goswami is the exemplar of the Nava Anga from the 9 processes of bhakti. Sukadev Goswami is the exemplar of Kirtan, though he doesn't have a mridanga or kartals. And then then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes to reinforce that, and he gives us Nam Sankirtan. So Lila Kirtan and then Nam Kirtan.
Adipusha Prabhu doesn't have mridanga or kartals, but he has an apron and a guitar. And
Right.
he's exemplar of kirtan in our
Uh-huh.
Sangha. Hare Krishna. Temple Room, Janitai, Adipusha Prabhu. Would you like to speak? Or it's darshan time, maybe?
The subject matter of a
Louder.
paradigm shift. Can you hear me?
No, yes.
The subject matter of the paradigm shift. Oh, it's time for darshan. We'll talk later. No problem. Hare Krishna.
Jai. Thank you very much, Sri Prahlad Prabhu. Darshan time, cameras on, please, if you can. Put on your best look.
Spotlight the darshan. Vedam Koti Kamani Abhishesha So of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotion to him. I bow down to those feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. And to perfection fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with chant and knowledge. He is my Lord.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Jani Tai Prabhu. Welcome to the Afterglow. Sri Prahlad Prabhu, you have a few minutes to stay overtime. Thank you.
Yeah.
Would anyone like to speak? Please go ahead. Ask a question. Min.
Good morning, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for class. I've heard this notion of Krishna coming for us. I don't think I've really realized it to a degree like how I've heard it this morning. Like that Krishna comes for me and you. And that's just so amazing. Part of that is very serious. I think for the first time, I feel like I'm able to really understand it in a very serious manner, that he comes so that we could remember him and praise him and love him constantly. What happens when we're asleep is, how do we connect to Krishna when we're sleeping? Is our soul also sleeping?
Okay, thank you. That's a reflection and a question. But I see the connection as well that you've made. First, just to reflect back, yeah, thank you for highlighting that aspect. That was the key point of our class today. And you also have elsewhere in the Bhagavatam where it says that the reason why, I need to find the reference, but the reason why devotees like Vasudeva and Devaki pray to Krishna to have him as their son is not just to have him as their son, but also to bring devotional service into the world. Vasudeva, Nanda, Yasoda. So these parents of the Lord, they're asking him to appear because they want the world to be benefited by seeing him, by hearing of his pastimes and his names. His names glorify his qualities and pastimes. So it's also the kindness of the Vaishnava that attracts the Lord and induces he receives an invitation to come into the world through these great devotees. So and he wants to come. Sometimes you want to go somewhere or you want to visit somewhere or someone, but then you're waiting to be invited. And so Krishna takes the prayers of his devotees as his invitation to come. And he does all, if you think about it, like all these avatars, it's like he's trying to get our attention, right? Here I am as a boar. Here I am as a half man, half lion. Here I am as a dwarf. Would that get your attention? Here I am as he's doing all these like crazy things, all these all these theatrics, all these shows, trying somehow or other to get our attention and to to bring us back to him, to reestablish a relationship with him. So your question is that, okay, if hearing and remembering Krishna is so important, what happens to the devotee when they sleep? Can they remember Krishna at that time as well? And then you said, what happens to the soul? Is the soul also asleep? The soul is conscious. We're having dreams. We are traveling in our minds to other places throughout the universe, through our dreams, in our sleep. And what can happen is that when our days are engaged in devotional service, when our days are engaged in hearing and chanting and remembering and glorifying Krishna, then our dreams and our sleep, it carries over into our sleep and our dreams as well. It continues as remembrance of Krishna. So the purified mind, the purified heart will be thinking of Krishna also in our sleep, chanting as well in the sleep. It's different for the devotee when they enter into sleep. It's not entering into ignorance like us, but it's another state of absorption. And Krishna, I always used to wonder about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Kirtaniya Sadahari, chant constantly. And how do you do that? And at some point, I just had some experiences where even when I stopped chanting, that my mind kept chanting. If you have an intense period of japa or kirtan, the reverberation of the kirtan continues in your mind for some time afterwards as well. And we've also experienced that when we're engaged in a very intense period of active service, that in our you'll hear devotees chanting in their sleep, or yeah, in the ashram you'll see or hear such things. And then in some stories of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, you have Krishna appearing purposefully in the dreams of devotees and giving instruction to devotees through their dreams as well. So yeah, as our consciousness becomes purified, our sleep also becomes purified as well. Thank you. Min, there are comments. I think Bhima wanted to comment on this.
Yes, Haribol Prabhu. It's can you hear me okay? Is everything okay?
Yeah,
The sound? Okay. So we have Krishna's pastimes, Leela, which of course in the materialistic sense happened 5,000 years ago. And then we have Lord Chaitanya's pastimes 500 years ago. Prabhupada's pastimes almost 50 years ago. And then we have the pastimes that we don't speak about much, but which is the sole cause of our advancement. And that is awakening to Krishna, who is here with us now. And that the pastimes, Leela, and of Krishna and Lord Chaitanya and Prabhupada, they help us to understand. They are reflecting in a mirror back upon us something that is already inside us. Is this a correct way to look at it? With Paramatma being present in the now, and that the Paramatma with us now is more important, not more important, but more importantly accessed than, let us say, the pastimes or the history or the hermeneutics or the philosophy, but that even the simplest amongst us who read Bhagavad Gita is upside down because we don't know which way the Sanskrit is facing, that we can access Krishna via the super soul. Am I wrong in this? And please correct me if I am.
I won't say you're wrong, but we'll just add some nuance to what you're saying. Because Paramatma's role is he's a witness. He's present as a neutral witness to our acts. And so he observes our activities and he ordains for us to receive the results of those actions according to our desires and qualifications. So his position, and in doing that, he's a judge. And the judge has to be absolutely impartial and neutral. The judge can't let their own feelings or partisan relations color how they deal with the living entity. And so Brahma says, Yastvindva gopamata vendra mohosva karma bandhanurupam talabhajanam artanoti. He says, Krishna, as Paramatma, you witness the activities of the living entities and impartially ordain for each the results of their actions without favor, whether in the case of Indra, the king of heaven, or Indra Gopa, the tiniest of entities, the microbe. And
But
so,
Prabhu, what is the purpose then of Chaita Guru, the guru within the heart, the instructions within the heart? Of course,
yeah,
there are all different voices. One can follow the voice of the mind, one can follow the voice of others,
yeah,
and one can follow the voice of the heart. Now, of course, one has to have a clear heart and a purified heart. But what about the instructions? Those instructions don't seem very aloof and neutral. Those instructions are, if you do this, then you will have to pay a price. And if you do this, I will be pleased and I will bestow upon you all good things. He's actually actively engaged with us. Please uh, respond to that.
yeah, sure. So the default, so the functions of Paramatma are, he says, I am in the hearts of all living beings. From me come knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. In the Gita. Sarvasya chaham hridi sanivisto matas mriter jnanam apohanam cha. So he's witnessing, he's ordaining for us karmic results that come to us through material nature. And he's giving us knowledge as we need it, but also as we are qualified for it, remembrance, but also he's also helping us to forget, because we can't function in this world without some forgetfulness as well as to what we've experienced in the past. But all of it from a neutral plane. Now, to your point of Chaitya Guru, that relationship, the neutral relationship with Paramatma, Shantaras, he's not going to actively intervene because we have chosen independence. He's not going to intervene. He's going to deal with us neutral, default. That's the default position. The devotee comes into the world and says, Krishna, please help this one. Please bless that one. Or we do some service for the devotee. By the mercy of the devotee, we awaken some appreciation of Krishna. We say, Krishna, let me serve you. Krishna, let me love you. We learn that from a devotee. And then when we speak to Krishna that way or approach him in that way, then the relationship changes from a neutral state of not intervening to an active state of being involved in your life. And so the relationship with Paramatma that the devotee has is different than the relationship of the general conditioned soul that has chosen Bahirmukha, to turn their face away from God. Yes, he's coming into the world. Yes, he's giving Bhagavad Gita. Yes, he's sending devotees. But it takes for a soul to receive some of that grace to then say, Krishna, I want to love you as a devotee, for him to then change the relationship with them. So Paramatma as super soul, yeah, he's witnessed everything. He knows what we deserve. He'll give us what we deserve. Bhakti is more than what we deserve. That bhakti we get by the grace of a devotee. We don't deserve it. We get by the grace of a devotee. Once we turn to him in that mood, then he deals with us differently. We're under his protection, and he becomes actively involved in our lives.
So basically what you're saying is thank God for the devotees.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's all I needed to know.
We are lost without the grace of the devotees, because the devotees are, Krishna is impartial, and he says that in different places in the Gita and the Bhagavatam, I'm impartial, and he's very committed to that impartiality. The devotee is partial, and so the devotee is not saying, do they deserve bhakti? Do they not deserve it? Are they qualified? Are they? It's like, have it, please take. Please see Krishna, see how beautiful he is, see that he's your friend, see that he's your well-wisher. And so the devotee is not looking at karma or qualifications. The devotee represents grace, or embodies God's grace. And so, yeah, by that grace, we get the seed of bhakti. Bhakti sanjayate bhakti. Bhakti is the cause of bhakti. Bhakti is its own cause. So it's the love in the heart of a devotee that we receive that awakens or ignites that love in our own hearts, that then Krishna reciprocates with. Thank you, Bhima.
Thank you.
Jeffrey Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for speaking so wonderfully on this topic. One of the things you just said, and this sort of a reflection and sort of a random thought, we often reflect on our relationship with Paramatma, or relationship with God in the heart. But as you were speaking, I'm thinking that God in the heart is one and the same in all of us, right? So is there value in reflecting on God in your heart or God in everyone's heart? Because that God in others' hearts is one and the same as the God in my heart.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is mentioned in different places in the scriptures that the sadhu sees God in everyone's heart and therefore bows to everyone. So they're dealing with every living being as the carrier or the seat, the lotus in which God is standing or sitting. And so, yeah, definitely there's value to seeing the presence of the Lord in everyone's heart. We deal with each other much more respectfully than not having that consciousness. So it's one thing to see everyone as a soul, and they are at a humanistic level, we say that's another human being. You have to respect their humanity, their human rights. And then at a spiritual level, we say that's a soul, and the same soul present not just in humans, but also in animals. You have to respect them as a spiritual being. And then there's another level which says that person carries God in their heart. You have to respect them as the carrier of Paramatma. You can't say, I love God, and then disrespect another being in whose heart Paramatma resides. And so we bow to every living being. We
But
bow.
what's the unique value of Jeffrey Eckler, Prabhu? Is he just the carrier of Krishna? What's his unique value? What's his added value?
He's a Vaishnava. Yeah, there's no higher epithet than that. Krishna says, there's no one more dear to me than the devotee. Krishna says, so speaking of hearts, Krishna tells Dasa Muni, he says, I am in the hearts of my devotees. So to Bhima's point, it's not just Paramatma who's in the hearts of the devotee. We have Krishna in our heart. That's the different relationship. Paramatma's neutral, Krishna's actively involved in his devotees' lives. So yeah, the Lord in the heart of the devotee is that flute player. But then to Jeffrey's point, or to your point, Ananda, Narayan tells Dasa Muni, he says, I'm in the heart of my devotee, and my devotee is in my heart. So there's something wonderful. He says, my devotee is more dear to me than I am dear to my own self. So there's no higher epithet than to say one is a Vaishnava, a devotee of Krishna.
Prabhu, as we reflect on that Krishna in our heart, that relationship expands. Is that correct? Like, I guess the material comparison would be like prejudice. Like if I had a predisposition in my psychology to dislike or to like some type of thing, person, activity, whatever, and then I expand that to, all right, that person or thing reminds me of that person or thing that in my mind I have envisioned the virtue of liking or disliking, then I should, or not should, but I can reflect on that relationship in my heart and then apply that out. So like if I desire to live in a state of forgiveness, then I should see that forgiveness in others. And in so doing, kind of sort of imitate Krishna. Is that
I didn't catch that. Sorry.
so? It's like maybe I'm too confused to ask the question. I'm just thinking that, you know, it seems like a selfish process to persistently be reflecting on my personal relationship with Krishna. But if I expand that to understand that my relationship with Krishna is in a way not unique, so that I can better identify with another. I guess you've already answered the question. I'm just mulling it.
Yeah. So the other is my relationship with Krishna is my service to Krishna. Getting ourselves out of the way, and it's about Krishna and his relationship with us. That's the other way to look at it, right? We start with us.
Prabhu,
Yeah.
can we have a relationship with Krishna that does not include, and first and foremost, as a prerequisite and a priority, that how we treat the devotees is more important than our prayers or our worship of Krishna?
Yeah, well, Krishna says, one who says who's my devotee, but disregards my devotee, he's not my devotee. That's a verse that gets cited. One who
So,
says they are the devotee of my devotee, that person is my devotee. So we say you can approach Krishna directly. That's the long way. That's the hard way. You can approach Krishna through his devotees. That's the fast track. Even if you're not qualified, if the devotees like you and they say, hey, look at so-and-so, then you're more likely to receive Krishna's grace. And so we stand before Radha and Krishna, and Radha is the compassionate devotee, and we say, please accept my service. And then Radha points you out to Krishna, say, your devotee's here to see you today. And so that's why we say Radha Murlidhara, Hare Krishna. We're approaching Krishna through his devotees.
Thank you.
so once again, thank God for the devotees.
Absolutely. Yeah. The greatest gift. Maturna, you have a hand raised.
Yeah, thank you for the class. Really nice. Or just something I've been meditating on while chanting, which is inspiring, is that Krishna likes to be the hero. We see in his pastimes, we meditate how much he's constantly saving his devotees and being the hero. And then something else also to meditate on is it's like a special Leela where Krishna relishes saving conditioned souls from this material world. This is another part of his Leela he really enjoys. And it's just, do I want it? Krishna's waiting for us to say, save me. I want you. I don't want this material world anymore. So is our desire there. And in Krishna's, I'm just waiting for you to let me know.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Krishna, he is he tells us in the Gita, I'm coming millennium after millennium to deliver my devotees, to destroy demons, to establish Dharma, to protect devotees. And then we can say, I've heard it explained, establishing Dharma, destroying demons. Destroying demons, he can do them, like he doesn't have to appear for that. He can arrange for them to fight each other. But loving his devotees, delivering his devotees is something that he wants to do personally. And he comes, ultimately, his purpose in coming is for his devotees.
That is very interesting. I'm picturing Hiranyakashipu versus Ravana. But Krishna left us some service to do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Prabhupada said that, and he gave contemporary examples from World War II. He says, there's your Hitler, there's your Churchill, you fight rascals. Prabhupada said, Krishna doesn't need to do that himself. He says, you fight rascals. And then for his devotees, he's coming personally.
Thank you very much. Okay, Adi Purusha Prabhu, you are the finisher today. Please say something profound, reflect. Please. But first, unmute yourself.
Is Matura still here?
Yes.
Matura, I was just coming out of the Bhakti Center and I ran into Shali. Shelly's here in New York. Shalagram from the Malaysians. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Ah, Shelley's there.
We'll
Beautiful.
connect you to him later. And I have a lot to share. I mean, it's such an amazing class. But Sri Prahlad is so profound and specific and complete that, you can't hold a candle to his wonderful explanations. I'm not going to drag the class on any longer, but we'll go to Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Sri Prahlad Prabhu Ki Jai. All the innumerable incarnations of Krishna who are coming personally for us. Ki Jai.
Right.
Thank you very much. Keep going, dear devotees. Your relationship with Krishna is your service. Right, Sri Prahlad Prabhu? Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank